I'm literally watching it in my mind while I'm
Mm,
writing it down,
yeah.
and it's just playing out as I'm writing it. It's I don't even know how to describe that. I
Yeah.
don't.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's
And if
newsman,
you were just joining
Logan
the
Crawford.
investigators, they now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
What if the one door you were warned never to open led not just to another world, but to a truth you could never escape? I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're talking to a terrific author. His name is Donald Paul Brown Jr., and he takes us inside his amazing book. It is called Basalt Door, Utah to Eden. It is a gripping sci-fi adventure where four friends cross into an ancient realm and discover that curiosity can change their lives forever. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put him on TV today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Donald, thank you so much for joining us here today.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Great to have you on the show. For our viewers just discovering the Basalt Door, talk to us a little bit about these four friends, James, Brittany, Jerry, and Haley, and what makes their connection so important to the story.
Well, the four friends, they grow up and they're in school together. So they form this bond, through their childhood. And so James ends up finding this door. And of course, he wants to hold it back from his friends. He doesn't want to tell his friends about them. But then, Haley is the scientist among them. So she ends up kind of prying it out of him and sees all this research that he's doing, on geology and different things like that. And so her curiosity obviously just kicks in and she pushes him and he ends up sharing it with her. So it was kind of like their secret amongst the four friends. And then later on, of course, the other friends end up finding out about it and they all become curious, because here's this door that is kind of singing to them. It's calling their name. And a lot of times that's the way things are in our life, that the doors will call to you, that will, and then, some of them are good to open, but some of them are not so good. And oftentimes we find that out when it's a little too late.
Exactly. And sometimes curiosity kills the cat, as we sometimes say.
That is so true.
You mentioned curiosity before when you were speaking, and it does set everything in motion. Why did you want that one trait to become both their strength and their downfall?
Well, I think that kind of reflects on me a little bit because I've always been kind of curious in my life. And that's what kind of got me into truck driving, because I was driving with my wife for many years going through Utah. So there was a lot of inspiration from Utah and from some of the things that I had been listening to and following and the books that I was reading. And so it kind of all just meshed together. And of course, I've got a lot of curiosity with me as far as what, I think outside of the box. I want to think outside of the box instead of just in this little world. What else is there possibly out there? So,
Yeah, exactly. You've got a lot of wonder. You've got a lot of curiosity, for sure. James's decision changes not only his life, but the lives of his friends as well. Talk to us about why it was important to show that they didn't fully blame James because they were curious themselves.
Well, how curiosity sometimes can get ourselves in trouble. And of course, at first, Brittany was the one that started blaming James. You're the one that got us into this, and how dare you do that? But then she starts to realize, wait a minute, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes back to the Bible in Genesis chapter 1, where a lot of people say, well, if I was Adam, I wouldn't have ever taken of that fruit.
Yeah.
But the fact is, we probably would have. It's because we have our nature is curious. So, when there's something strange and something out of the ordinary, we want to go find out. And so that's
Yeah.
kind of the premise behind everything is that, James was a curious and he, led his friends into the curiosity, so.
Exactly. Who's your target audience for this book?
It's really preteen, teen, and young adult. But I believe anybody could really enjoy it. It's an adventure story. It's a story about, these kids that find a world that they never thought they would have found. And they start to learn about some things that they never thought they would have learned before.
Yeah, absolutely. Friendship is one of the strongest themes in the book as well.
Yes.
What were you hoping to say about loyalty, trust, and depending on one another in moments of fear?
Well, we do live in a world these days that is very divided. We have a lot of issues in this world. And so I feel like friendship is so important and we need to rely on one another sometimes. We don't always have all the answers. And so our friends and our family could have some answers that could help us to solve issues that we have in our lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once the four friends are transported to the other realm, the stakes become enormous. Talk to us
Yes.
about building a world that feels ancient, mysterious, and threatening all at once.
Well, that's the way I viewed what was happening. So the pre-flood world was definitely an apocalyptic time. It was a time right before the flood was happening in Genesis. And so you go back to Genesis chapter 6 and you see these angelic beings that decided they were going to disobey God and they were going to create these beings that we call Nephilim, the Builder Kings, is what I called them in the book because I just thought that was very fitting for them. So there was a very rough world that was created, and James and his friends, they find out real fast that, hey, this is a very dangerous world and we need to stick together to get through it.
Exactly. And Xylos is a powerful antagonist. Talk to us a little bit about him.
Xylos, he's the Nephilim, and he's also he's a scientist himself. So that's why he takes a lot of interest in Haley, because Haley's a human scientist. So he's totally taken back. But at the same time, he's very emotionless. He has no emotions to him. When they get upset, he's like, that's a bad emotion. That's something that'll just get you in trouble. And so he dismisses the kids because they're going through these emotions. And he's like, he don't understand it. He has no emotion. And so he emerges himself as this guy that wants to conquer the human world. He wants to impose his control on them. He wants to, he's creating these hybrid beings that follow his, what he wants, and he wants to use them to take over the world. So he was my bad guy in the movie.
Exactly, a real bad guy, because he not only wants to dominate his own realm, he wants to take over the human world as well. Is there a message there?
So he created the portal in the first place, and he didn't know how to control it, and he didn't know how to use it. And so it was like he was calling out to our time, and he was wanting to escape the judgment that was coming upon him, and he was going to use the portal to do it. It just didn't quite work to his advantage. But so the message would be that, there are people out there that want to use you to get to what they want. You don't have to let them do that. You can fight against them. So it's a battle. It really is a battle between like good and evil, I guess you could say, or the fallen realm against humankind. So.
Exactly. And Igneous is an interesting character because he turns against his creator and sides with the friends. Talk to us a little bit about that shift.
So Ignis, the lava lizard, he's he has these abilities to connect to people through imagery. He's able to telekinesis, and he sends these images to the friend. He knows he was created by Xylos, but he doesn't agree with Xylos. Mm-hmm. He doesn't agree with their agenda. So he goes completely against them. And he says, no, I'm not going to. And he sees these four friends in trouble, and he decides, I'm going to help them. I'm going to help them get out of here. Because I know that if Xylos gets their information, it could be really bad. So
it's wonderful. It's great storytelling. The book, as I understand it, came in part from podcasts your wife, Jackie Brown, introduced you to. Talk to us about how those conversations and discoveries shaped the story.
It was me and my wife. We have a really good relationship, and we like to talk about things that are strange and out of the ordinary. So she would send me these podcasts that she would get and find, and I would listen to them, and I'd read the books, and I would find them fascinating. It just was, it got me to digging more into what the Bible has to say. And then I got to digging into the book of Enoch. And the book of Enoch is a very interesting book. It has a lot of information in it about, so that kind of got me going down that rabbit hole. And we would have discussions all the time sitting in the truck driving down the roads.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's great. That's great. You said you grew up in the church and long wondered about the nature of pre-flood world. Talk to us about how those early questions evolved into the foundation of this book.
Well, I mean, when you're growing up and you get the generalized, they tell you, well, this is what happened or whatever, and there was just a lot of questions left. Well, what about these giants? We never talk about the giants. We never talk about, Genesis chapter 6. We never talk about different things that were happening. So of course, obviously, it creates a question mark. Well, there's more to the story. There's got to be, So that got me curious about, what's more. And then, of course, with Jackie sending me some of this stuff, it was just like, oh, this is exactly what I'm looking for,
Absolutely.
Gets me going down that path.
Yep, absolutely. The book is very visual, great settings, great characters, great storylines, great conflicts. Have you envisioned it as a film?
I have.
Yeah.
It would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cinematic,
Yeah. Well, you've done the hard part. You've created the work. You've created the story. So hopefully, Hollywood, if you're listening, here's a book that's ready to be adapted into.
And there's book 2 and book 3. There's going to be a series. So I've already written the rough draft for book 2. I'm very excited about it. It's looking like it's shaping up really good. So I'm can't wait to present it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So it must be fun creating and living in this world. Now it's going to be for 3 different novels, which is great. Tell us what it's like writing it. What's it like being on this little journey in your mind as you're putting it down on paper?
I'm literally watching it in my mind while I'm writing it down. And it's just playing out as I'm writing it. It's I don't even know how to describe that. I don't. But it's like I'm watching a movie in my head. And it just comes out on paper. And of course, the movie has changed several times over, years of writing this out. But I had some time, some downtime, and I just decided to start writing. And it's been a wonderful journey. I absolutely enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun.
And the best part is readers will enjoy it as well. Before we leave you today, let me ask you about this. I know there's some exciting news. The Basalt Door, Utah to Eden is coming to Audible. Tell us about that. Yeah.
Yes. I really am excited about it because when I heard it the first time, it's already done and the production is done. And so they, send it to me to listen to it. I was just amazed how well the story comes alive when someone's reading it, and I'm just so excited about it. And it's about I think 2 weeks away from becoming an Audible book. So.
Awesome. So we'll look for the book on Amazon, and in a couple of weeks we'll look for the book on Audible as well. Something so powerful about having a produced audio version of the book tell it to
Absolutely.
you. It kind of like is
Yes.
the theater of the mind in the classic sense,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, absolutely. It is something else to hear your own book coming from
Exactly.
Ottawa.
Knowing you created the stories and those are your words. Wonderful. Well, the name of the book
Mhm.
is The Basalt Door, Utah to Eden. It is a vivid and imaginative sci-fi adventure about four teenagers whose curiosity opens a portal into an ancient and perilous world where friendship, courage, and survival are tested against cosmic forces far beyond their understanding. Donald, thank you so much for joining me here today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure's been all mine. I appreciate your time, your talent, and your insight. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time.